Bob and Ron.
Bob and Ron.
It's Bob and Ron.
I don't know Bob and Ron.
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 I love Bob and Ron.
Now here are Bob and Ron, the definition of high radio.
Put your headphones on, get ready to go. Prepare yourself for a stereo show. The whole world's mad for the modernized sound of the stereo disc and the tape with the earphones, bass on the left side, singing on the right side. La 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 la. Well, let the great experiment begin.
Let it continue, Bob.
This is really an experiment, a podcast. And you know what? I cannot believe this is our third show and we haven't called it a podcast.
Yeah.
There's got to be about 100 of them out there already, right?
Podcasts?
Podcasts. Oh, yeah. Trademark. Ding.
Ding. That is Bob over there.
There's Ron.
And this is Bob and Ron's Record Club show number 3 from our lovely clubhouse way up north side of Chicago, right by the lake, where it's nice and cool.
City of Champions. And we got some loose ends, as usual. We don't quite always finish our trains of thought because we start thinking about things like Fogarty Delp.
Right.
Fogarty Delp, and then our brains go to mush. But last week we were talking about some records I got from my uncle.
Right.
And many of them were imports. One of them that was not an import, and I just want Ron's opinion. This is a visual thing. This is for us only. You're listening in at the clubhouse meeting, but this is a classic Canned Heat album that everybody should
that's
own.
A good one.
Hallelujah.
Canned Heat.
Buy it.
What year is that, Bob? What year is that? And let's take a look.
It's 69, I want to say.
All right.
I'm not sure. But see, this is one thing we always say. Every record should have somewhere on it what pressing it is, what year, just like books. First pressing this year, blah, blah, blah. This is a fourth pressing.
Fourth pressing came out this year. This is the second time we mastered it. This is the second pressing, and the year this was
plating.
And here's the release date. Right.
It should all be there. I mean, I guess you can learn some of that through the Matrix numbers, but man, that's confusing.
But you need books. You got to go. There's
you got to be one of those
Rain
Man to know that when you're going to the record store. Like, okay, now this Matrix needs to be A/B2 with a smiley face, but the smiley face is wearing a chapeau.
Oh, so that's Canned Heat. Hallelujah, Bob got that. That was in the your uncle's record collection.
It's
that
an
you
American edition, but doesn't that look kind of blue? I mean, I don't know. It's a little dark in here, but. It's usually kind of like a reddish, all my other ones.
Yeah, purple.
Yeah, and this one's kind of blue, so I don't know if it's an earlier pressing or what.
It's nice, man.
Yeah, and that is great out.
Oh, yeah, Sick 'em Pigs. Oh,
Get Off My Back, the ultimate stereo freak out. Things just pan from one side to the other. Like it's just crazy.
I love stereo freakouts. Oh, speaking of which, we should play our
great guitar
our stereo test while we have it out online. This is to make sure that you have your whole system is correctly hooked up. Your headphones are on the correct way, which mine aren't. Hold on. I actually have to spin my...
Really?
Yeah, oh no, totally.
So it's really just a test for you.
Yeah.
Now you're spinning them around again.
Hold on.
Left
right.
side.
Okay, we're perfect. Left side, right side. Now it's like I could breathe, because I know everything's right in the world. My left audio is on the left channel, and my right is on the right. Okay, perfect.
Ron's always freaking out because he looks into mirrors too much. He's like, wait, which is my left and which is my right? I don't know what's going on.
I have to hold up my hand to make the letter L and know that that's my left hand.
Right. Which hand do you write with?
My left.
I'm left-handed. So then when you're writing at your writing desk across from the mirror and you see yourself writing right-handed, it just freaks Ron out, and that scares him. And he's always calling me, Bob, which is my right and left? And I'm like, do you have your stereo phone hooked up? Because I'll play you the test.
Okay.
But and lastly, Ron, I can't believe we didn't mention this last week. The jewel of the collection from my uncle's record collection.
Yes?
First pressing German. And
this is the Who Live at Leeds.
With black... stenciling the stamp. If you see it, it looks kind of like a bootleg or something.
Right.
The stamp on it is in black, and I believe that's the original in the UK. So I'm going to guess it's original in Germany.
Now, so the record by the Who, Live at Leeds, it's a total classic live album. I mean, it does not get much more classic than this one. And also cool about this record, it had a bunch of stuff that was inserted, artwork. fake. Here, let me see.
Contracts.
The contract.
And on the label too, it says crackling noises okay. Do not correct.
Really?
So, yeah, this is in the original. I mean, these
original
all
plastic
these inserts
bag.
are in the original. Like that's an old,
Yeah.
an old kind of plastic that almost crumbles. It's a
Yeah,
little yellowed, and I mean, it's got it all in here.
I mean, this is one of the many reasons why we prefer vinyl over any other recorded medium, because it's not just the music. It's an art. It's a piece of art. It's a presentation of how their you could have cool fold-out covers. You could have things that wind up.
Right, before bands started putting that to their cocaine budget, they used their advances to give you like 12 inserts.
Put it in the art
budget. Now,
budget.
here's the thing that I've had a few copies of Live at Leeds.
Sure,
and I have all the inserts a few times over. In fact, I can't believe all the things I've given away. I'm much more of a hoarder now, but I once gave Matt Dahl all like the inserts for Live at Leeds because he was a big Who fan. I think we were just trying to kiss Steve's ass or something, so we gave him. But actually, I was like, hey, I got a few copies.
So
Why do
that?
I need more than one?
Okay, so
but here's the one that I've never had before. It's the poster that came with it.
See, I've never even. I can't believe you got that.
It's that classic The Who Maximum R&B poster at the Marquee.
It's at the Marquee
with Townsend up in the corner,
playing a Rickenbacker.
Corner. Yeah, doing the windmill.
Nice.
It's the classic poster you've seen from their one of their first gigs when they were at the Marquee every Tuesday night. Yeah,
so cool.
Every Tuesday I go down and see the Who.
Let me see this.
Be careful with that.
Oh, I will. I will.
Yeah, your hands aren't all grubby or something.
No, my hands are not grubby.
Okay.
Bob, I wash my hands way more than you, dude.
In fact, I'm seeing someone about it. I have OCD. I wash my hands 20 times a day.
Classic. Look at that. That's a great
Pete
picture.
at Woodstock there with the guitar over his head, jumping
or is that
in a
from Isle of Wight?
No, that's Woodstock. I got that framed at home. Cool. I got that in a frame because, like I said, I have a few extra copies, so I took some of the old ones and framed it. But it's like all their contracts and
this is so cool.
Everything from their manager, and it's cool stuff in there. I mean, it's one of the great things. Yeah, but the thing is, it's not always worth as much as you think. A receipt for
delivery. One case containing 1 gross of T2 smoke generators. Cool.
Yeah, but it's so nice. Like the paper stock and stuff is. They make these books now. Have you ever seen those books that come out where they have all the little ticket stubs and little posters in them?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And, they do it, in this kind of quality they were doing it. I mean, this is like, real thick paper for a contract.
Right, it's not just
like the right, it's hard to believe they're not originals.
Wow, Bob is shaking so much as he's handling the inner goodies.
I'm a fan here.
Yeah, right, okay. It's cool awesome. Holding that stuff because this is the first pressing. This is the first issue. It has the original artwork inside, which is contained in a little bag. It's the Who Live at Leeds.
Bag.
If you could find a great copy of it, make sure it's original because it'll have all this good stuff in it.
I know there's a good copy right now. It's a little expensive.
Really, I need one.
Like $60.
What? I don't need it that bad.
Right. You can find. I mean, if you look around, like we were talking about Collector's Friends the last podcast.
Yep.
And
go on, you could say it. It's okay.
And there were a lot of these going for under $20. Not maybe German pressings. Even though I did see some German ones going for cheap. I saw some going for over $100 too. So you got to time it. But you can find a Live at Leeds original with the stuff for not too bad of a price.
Right.
Not too bad of a price. And it's a classic, live album. Of course, it's been re-released so many times on disc now, and now I think finally the full thing came out or something. So,
we had a question. Let me see if I'm not sure if it was on Facebook or on our doll.com message board, but someone asked us, "What is the rarest record? What is the most valuable rare record? Is there one? And that's the thing. We don't know everything about records.
Yeah, we try not to be snob. Like we said, we were talking about Paul Revere and the Raiders the other week. We like a lot of music. We're willing to give anyone a chance. Back then, a lot of these bands people turned their back on because they were cool. Like people hated the Monkees.
That's
we love the Monkees.
We love the Monkees. Three Dog Night. I love Three Dog Night.
Got all their records.
Yeah, sure. We like a lot of bands that people would be like, well, what, really? Like the Turtles?
Chicago.
Like the
love Chicago.
The Turtles.
Turtles. Kick ass.
Amazing band.
They're great.
And someone had asked me what was the most valuable record, and I don't really have the answer.
That we own or just in the world?
Yeah, you need to be more specific with that question. In the world, I have no idea what it could be.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about, too, when you go to collectorsfrenzy.com, the first thing that pops up is what happened like the most expensive records for that day. There's always, and the Butcher cover's up there a lot.
Yeah.
That one goes for a lot. The Beatles Butcher cover, where, Yesterday and Today, where they had to cover it up. And a lot of those were sold in Chicago because they went to Sears, and a lot of them came to Chicago, actually. So you never know. Look at your copy. Be careful. But it's, doubtful you have one. But supposedly you can see I think it's over Ringo or George, you can kind of see through a little bit of a dark spot of like someone else's, what they're wearing on the under one. You can kind of see it at certain points, and I don't know, go online and Google it. I'm sure there's plenty of ways to look at it before you try to rip your copy.
So what we're talking about is the Beatles Butcher cover. It's one of the most famous like record geek, record collector prizes. I mean, I don't have one. Do you have one, Bob?
No.
I mean, okay, so in America it came out as Yesterday and Today. It's an American like collection of singles, really, and the original cover had them in white coats, holding
butcher's smocks.
Butcher's smocks. Dressed as butchers,
cuts of meat, and some baby doll parts around.
No big deal.
And George looking like an absolute madman.
So if you go to the site collectorsfrenzy.com, it'll show you like what they've sold for recently and kind of give you a history of what they've gone for. One sold 5 days ago for $1,300.
Right, and then, but then there's also records there's Dylan records and stuff that'll go for like $10,000 or something because one person that worked at the plant pressed a blue copy.
Right, or
but that doesn't count in my mind. It's got to be something that came out, was withdrawn. It had to be someone sneaking There's a lot of records that were snuck out, like a couple colored copies, colored vinyl, right. And I guess, or like the Beatles White Album that was originally numbered, so you get a low number, like number 5 just sold.
Wow,
on eBay,
really?
I think, in the
Number
last year.
Number 5, the White Album. Yeah.
Right. It was given to this guy by John Lennon, because obviously the first 4 are going to go to the Beatles, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I think Lennon might have even had some earlier ones. They pushed Ringo around in '68. They probably waited. You can have like 85, Ringo. Relax.
Wow.
But so I mean, there's lots of things like that make an album rare. Like some of these '78s or old jazz records. There's only one in existence or something. Makes it rare. So it's hard to say what the rarest record in the world is.
Right.
And like we said, we're not Rain Men. We don't know everything. But if somebody wants,
I know there's some
now,
Elvis.
tweet us,
I know there's some like
us,
Elvis
whatever.
stuff that are known as like the most expensive record. I know the acetate for the Velvet Underground.
All right.
And Nico, that's what did that one sold for like $25,000.
I got it for $16 on Record Store Day. They put out a stamped edition that's now going for big money. But
that's
they
great.
also
But it is
put
the
out a regular
it's the
edition
acetate version of
right.
the
And
Velvet
you can get that
Underground
now for
Nico.
like $15. It's out, or $19 something. They put it out a non-numbered version, but it's good too. It sounds good. I just finally opened mine about 2 weeks ago, and it sounds great.
Really,
it's cool, man.
Cool.
Imagine finding it. I found it on the street at like a just like people selling records on the street, a little
right.
like, flea market type thing. Pulls out the vinyl acetate of the Velvet Underground before they even it's not the same that became their debut. This was different mixes and stuff. So it's just historic. And this guy finds it. I think he got for a quarter or something. I don't know. I know that's a valuable record from. I once found. We've talked about Ron's best garbage.
Sure.
I once found
like
a
Beatles
Salvation
Mono.
Army.
Go ahead.
Johnny Cash's debut on Sun Records.
Really?
It's a little. It's not. It's probably very good, which in record isn't that great. I mean, even good sounds like wow, it's a good record. Good's pretty poor. It should still play without skipping or getting stuck, in a repeating lock or something. But it's pretty scratchy. It's a little noisy.
Well, I know one of the most valuable records is there's a certain version of a Dylan record, the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, and it went for like $37,000. Nice. I know that's way up there. It's got a different track list, and it was like pulled right away.
Right.
Like
see?
there's only a handful of them out there.
But I count that.
The Butcher,
that was done by the company on purpose, and then they realized Dylan wanted to change what songs were on or whatever, change the song order, and completely change some of the songs in that case.
Yeah, so and another one of the rarest records was the Butcher cover. Sold for $38,000 in '96, and this was a mono version, mint condition, sealed. So it was sealed, and it was a Butcher cover. $38,800.
How do you know if they're really sealed, or someone's just got a deal a meal or seal a meal or whatever at home, and they're sealing up old records or something, buying You can still seal
you can
records.
It's sealed. We should just get sealers.
I mean, I got a bunch of still sealed, and I guess you can kind of tell by looking at it. 'Cause sometimes it's just like getting stretched out, and you can see like rips
Yeah,
that are
I've
happening
seen that
naturally.
fake. It seems like it was recently done.
But
you
some
know.
imports were originally in like really loose bags or
Right.
no bags.
Right.
Like some imports in the 70s and stuff here never were sealed. So it could be a totally unplayed, never touched record, and you wouldn't really know it because it looks open.
Right. The second most valuable record is an acetate disc by the Quarrymen.
See, acetate this.
Again, I mean, because there's only like probably 5 or 6 of them in existence,
Yeah.
sold for $180,000.
Right. Yeah. Paul, John, everyone in the Quarrymen had a copy. That was it, which of course are the Beatles.
Right.
And
then of
but
course,
acetates I don't count as a record. I mean, even that Velvet Underground, that's not a record; it's an acetate.
right. And then the one that they say was the most valuable one was the version of Double Fantasy that Mark David Chapman had signed. $400,000. I know.
I don't even
That's
want his
terrible.
name said.
I don't.
Can we beep that name out?
We
Post
could,
that in?
yeah.
Because Yoko, I remember when John was killed, she said never say his name, and I never have. So let's beep that out.
All right, we'll just call him MDC.
Jerk face.
Yeah.
But
so,
yeah, that doesn't count. See, that's just sick.
Well, but it's still considered one of the most
course.
valuable. Right?
Yeah, I'm
$400,000.
Oh my!
I
God.
wouldn't want
Who the
it.
hell bought that?
I don't know.
That
Some
is
sicko.
That is disgusting.
So it's interesting, when you look at the value of records and what you see on something like Collector's Frenzy or on eBay or so, and what you could actually get records for here locally. It's such a huge, huge difference.
First of all, when they're talking about collector's records, they're going for high prices. You're talking mint.
Mint?
Like the record is totally
unplayed.
Basically unplayed.
Like
There's
played,
no,
like twice put
not
away.
a tiny speck of ring wear
Right.
on the cover.
Right.
Try to find a white album without ring wear.
It's not
Good
out there.
luck.
It's
That's
not
why,
out there.
That's why original white albums go for so much money. I got an original with there's a mislabeling on the label of it just says Bungalow Bill instead of the continuing stories or whatever, continuing adventures of Bungalow Bill. So that's like a first pressing. It's worth a lot.
Right.
But my cover, it's got total ring wear on it. It's
Right.
impossible, like you said, to find it without it. The originals.
So yeah,
Numbered
original white albums
copies.
are numbered.
I always think there should have been a website where everyone checks in with what number your copy you
Great
have and
idea.
where you're at.
It's a great
First
idea.
day. That's the first thing I ever thought of when I heard about the web. I'm like, oh, we can finally gather together. Everyone
I know
has a
there
white
was
album.
this artist that was doing this big thing where he was collecting.
Yeah, he's
all
buying everyone's white album. and
Everyone's
he
white
just
album.
Play them all at the same time.
That's
and
right.
stuff in here. So
I've heard it. I listened to it.
I got about
You can hear
6
it online.
copies of the white album. Maybe I should sell them. Some of my
Right.
beat up ones because some of them are beat up. One of my best copies I ever got, I bought from a homeless man. And I've got that's another great record find. You never know what you're going to find of people. What do those homeless guys carrying around in bags? Well, this guy's carrying around about 6 Beatles albums.
Interesting.
Bought them all for like $5 because
Yeah.
the guy at the record store wouldn't buy any of them because they look trash. I mean, the covers are split in half. They look pretty trash. But I looked at them in the light and I'm like, these aren't real scratches. It just looks really grimy and dirty. And I got that new VPI record cleaner. Let's put it to the test. And boom, I got the debut. It's my best copy I have. My white album, best copy I have. Let It Be, best copy I have.
Jeez.
One of those ones on VJ.
Yep.
Story, Songs, and Pictures, I think.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I never had a copy of that.
Yeah, those Beatles albums are interesting because VJ Records was here.
Right.
In
Local.
Chicago.
Somehow they had the Beatles records at the beginning because Capitol passed, like Swan had them and VJ. Because
Right.
Capitol passed on their rights for American release
That's-
of it. And then I think once the Sullivan show happened, they were like, wait a second, boys.
Yeah.
So then VJ and them kept re-releasing the same
The
batch
same
of
thing. So
songs.
there's a bunch of different covers for it and different versions of those.
different running orders.
Yeah, totally
But
different.
if you're a
running order.
completist, you got to get them.
Yeah,
and
I have a couple
worth,
of 'em.
They're worth money.
Oh, yeah.
But see, once again, if you think you got something special out there, people, and you think you can get big money, think again. Because
Right.
unless it's totally mint, you're not really going to get the big money for it. I mean, you can try, put up on eBay, see what happens.
And that's one of the reasons why, if you go to a rare record store or a record show or convention or something, and you put down a lot of money for a record, it's going to be mint, or hopefully it will.
Damn well
be,
better be.
Exactly. So make sure you can always look at the vinyl at the store that you buy it from. If
Yeah,
they're not,
most of them will return if there's a skip or
most
a scratch.
stores. Yeah, most
I think
stores.
they
are cool
all
about it.
will. Some will give you attitude, reckless, and some
Yeah.
won't.
Right.
So I don't know, but that's the way it is. I guess it all depends on how much they know you. How much you're in there.
And that's another thing. You make relationships with these record store owners, and they see you coming in and buying lots of stuff, and they'll kind of take your word for things, after a while. At least for us, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they'll ask me questions sometimes. They'll ask us questions because they don't know everything either.
Right.
And if somebody pretends they do,
So if you want our opinion on something, or you have some records out there, you want to know what they're worth, or you want to get rid of them, or anything, you could email us at bobandron@doll.com. You could go to our Facebook, which is just Facebook, Bob and Ron's Record Club. We have a Twitter. It's Bob and Ron's LP Club.
There it is, at Bob and Ron's LP Club. And if that's too confusing for you, I got my own at Kick It Up a Nacho. So, a longtime fan knows that phrase was born on our show one night. So, on a Cinco de Mayo, one of our callers, Kim, called in and she said, "Hey guys, you gotta kick it up a nacho tonight." It was so funny. I was like, "Okay, Twitter, you gotta have a stupid name," so I went with that. And also, don't be offended if we don't follow you back on Twitter. It's just because we try to keep the feed coming in just music. I mean, if you're a musician and you follow us, we'll probably follow back. Or if we check your tweets and you're like 70, 80% music, we probably will. But feel free to add us at any time. I think that's what they call it, right?
Follow us or
no, to send us
tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us anytime a question or whatever. Sure. We'll try to answer or whatever. And like I said, I run the Twitter. Basically, Ron runs the Facebook. So if you have specific, like if you want to know about Ron's AR turntable, go to Facebook. If you want to know about my Riga Planner 3,
that's Bob.
Come meet. And I got the best job, I think, because first of all, Facebook's much more traffic, and I only have to have 140 characters. I can just be like, dude, that's too long for me to get into now. You can't do that.
But we also have a forum up at doll.com, and it's the Bob and Ron's Record Club area. Go over there.
Is that where they send their sex stories? Is forum still use the same? We're old school. Yeah. When we think forum, we think penthouse forum.
No, this is just, it's like a message board, Bob. People can ask questions. We can answer questions.
Yeah, I've heard about internet.
Yeah, see, I'll be taking care of that also, because I don't think Bob. I'll take care of the message board. I'll consult with you though, Bob. Of course.
Well, hearing you describe you finding your Beatles records last podcast, that was kind of pornographic. Blood rushing places, head spinning, getting lightheaded.
Well, the feeling when you walk into a store and you see something that you've been looking for.
That my uncle's record collection when I pulled out that Live at Leeds.
Yeah, it's the greatest feeling in the world. When you're in a record store.
I felt a little something down there.
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to say. When you see a Live at Leeds original German pressing with all the original inserts in the original little plastic bag, you get a little excited.
Right. It's very exciting. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Can we just leave it at that? Yeah.
The rest will be at the forum.
Yeah. Okay.
So one day I was digging through some trash, and all of a sudden a Beatles record rubbed up against my leg, and the rest will be at the forum.
So, people have asked us, what's your favorite album by this artist? What's like each band that we usually get complete collections of, the classics, the Who, the Kinks, et cetera, et cetera. People are always asking, what's your favorite?
Yeah, if you like a handful of songs by some artist, odds are you're going to like a handful of albums at least.
Exactly. So, we've done our, and that's something about mine and Bob's collection is we're very completist. Like when we like an artist, we like to get everything they've ever put.
It's part of collecting. Exactly. It's part of the sickness.
It really is.
I bought just in the last few weeks.
I've got to get every single Lou Reed record. It just got in my head, and I just went on this spree searching all over.
I got one of the last ones I need on hold right now.
Really?
I'm picking up after we tape this.
Really?
Yep. Street Hassle.
Nice.
I still don't have
I
it.
got it.
Yeah. And I've picked up recently, talking about completist,
the
Quicksilver Messenger Service late 70s full band reunion. The Country Joe and the Fish late 70s full band reunion.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, I picked up the Moby Grape late 70s full band reunion.
Right, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was
a lot of those are.
And the Birds reunion, like in '73, I got those albums because it's like, why not, man? Especially like we were talking earlier. I don't know if these podcasts starting to blend together.
I know it's all like.
But when we first started collecting
mind.
records hardcore, I mean, I first discovered my first, I think, used record probably in the mid '80s.
Right.
And then, I remember buying records, everywhere from Maxwell Street to Salvation Army. Every garage sale I see, I stop by. I'm like, you got records? And I'll look through them all. I'll look through all the South Pacific copies of South Pacific you got, and all your Barbra Streisands, all your Carpenters.
Yeah, I'll look through them. I don't care.
You love her.
I'm
sorry.
Hey, man.
I'm not putting them down. I think she's cool, too. Right,
Karen Carpenter on drums.
Yeah, right.
Dude.
Right.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
Look it up. We'll post up some
videos. Save
it
for the forum. Yeah, write a forum story about you and Karen Carpenter.
Karen Carpenter. She's very cute, for one thing. and she could play. She could hold
She had a
it
cool
down,
voice,
man.
too.
Oh, you think? She had
Yeah.
an amazing voice,
Yeah.
and she held it down behind the kit, man.
Oh,
She's the
By
shit,
kit,
yeah.
Ron means drums.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Ron, I got a question.
Yeah,
Speaking
go
of music
Yes,
questions,
sir.
something
Go
I tweeted out last night was
Yes.
I saw a band Japan Droids
Yeah, sure.
on Letterman.
Okay.
And I just put out there, no one's answered yet, but what is the deal with all
Right.
these two-man bands? Is it just all the White Stripes influence? Is it a budgetary thing? Is it just bass players are dicks? I mean, that's my question. Did people just hate bass players? They're like, you know what? Screw it. We're starting a band. That fucking dick is out of the band.
I don't really know. There is a trend these days, the two-piece band.
Right.
I'm not opposed against it. I
Have
know
you talked to the drummer of Margo, the band you're in, and said, "Hey, man, dude, we got to do a two-piece."
we don't
Screw
need
these
we don't
guys."
need these other. Four.
Everyone comes for
four
my
members.
hot licks and your tasty beats, and it's like that's all they want. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Or is it a Tenacious D thing? I don't know. Where this two? I think it's a White Stripes thing, honestly. But
Yeah, sure.
all these
Yeah.
bands. Well, it's probably not. These bands are probably all around, but it's all of a sudden since it works, all these guys like. These executives
There's a
like,
lot more.
it worked with White Stripe, two
In all-
people. We signed 2-people band now. Okay.
Is that a record company executive?
Right. That's
Oh
executive
man, it sounds just
everywhere.
like it.
It's like the
It's
radio
amazing.
guys we used to talk
Yeah,
to.
totally. It's like talking to a
You can't
child.
play small faces because small face, nobody knows small faces. Well, you mean play them and they'll know it. What?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to start doing voices or something for the podcast. I think
man.
it interesting. Hey, y'all.
Yeah. What? This isn't interesting enough? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. You tell us.
Here's something of interest. Look what I picked up at the
Oh, what's
record
that?
store the other day. Spinal Tap logo, and it says this one comes out on 11. This is Spinal Tap soundtrack, June 11th, so it's already passed. It's available on the first time on vinyl since 1984.
Oh,
But
cool.
Fortunately, we both
I have an original.
Yeah, so do I. So I don't need to get it.
Oh,
but
that's
just to
cool.
let
You got
know.
this little postcard, Spinal Tap postcard. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's sweet. I'll keep it
This is
forever.
at a record store?
Yep.
Sweet.
This is a collect. See, this is what collectors do. I'll collect this little thing forever, and then
Dude, I have so many little music-related things that I collect. It is out of control. Stickers,
Posters.
posters. Oh, posters.
magazines.
Here at the clubhouse, we're kind of in the magazine room, I guess you could say.
Library.
The library. But it's
The
mostly
media room.
yeah, and it's almost all. I have tons of Mojo. Me and Bob both collect Mojo magazine.
Yeah. Oh, I've never
record
thrown out
collector,
a copy.
record collector down here.
I'll buy a copy of Mojo. It's 10 years old if I see it at the store
Oh, yeah,
right
sure.
away if I need it. They're evergreens because it covers old music in depth, but it also has new artists
Right.
that are pretty cool. And
Absolutely.
the reviews, they cover all
Best
new and old.
reviews.
There's more new artists than old artists in
well-written
reviews.
articles, really in depth. I'll never, I remember seeing like a really big one on Spirit. I was just like, oh, finally,
I
someone
know.
tells the story of Spirit or Hawkwind.
Their
or Gong,
14-page spread on Leonard Skinner was when I said this magazine is the best because I
Yeah,
like Skinner,
sure.
but I was reading this art talking about them, practicing like 14 hours
Yes,
a day and
yes.
all this stuff, and it was so in depth and it was so cool.
So-
it made you
so what did you
run to my Leonard Skinner section.
I picked the wrong band. I picked the wrong record out. What is this? Okay, yeah, no. So you went to your Skinner section and
I pulled out
Right.
every record and just played them in
Man.
order, and I was loving it.
I do that a lot. I'll
that band was
start with the first record.
discovered with the quotes by Al Cooper.
Al Cooper, the Zelig of rock and roll.
Yeah, he was hot
Man.
for a while there.
Yeah, Al Cooper.
A lot of
I mean, we could get
production
it
work.
if you want to get into Al Cooper. He, not only did he play on Dylan's Highway 61, he's the guy that is responsible for finding the zombies, bringing them to America.
Well, that album was not going to be
Yeah.
Odyssey and Oracle was not going to be released in the
That's right.
States, and he bought a copy in the UK,
And they
he's
would-
came back and talked to the VPs like, you got to release this. What
Right.
are you doing?
They had already broken up.
And that is a classic. I do not have an original copy.
I
of that.
do. I have it.
Original?
Well, it's I could go check it, but yeah, I have it's on Ode Records. Yeah, I think it's original.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I got a reissue recently.
We'll
that's
have to go
pretty
look.
nice,
we could
but-
go look. We'll go grab it and we'll look. But did you bring more records? I see a stack
no,
over there.
Well, we were talking about some of them earlier. I do actually, the ones you don't see. So it
Yeah,
must have
I
been
know. I
psychic.
just see a big stack. I
I
can't.
got some underneath here that I just got. So
Okay,
this
cool.
one actually, right before I came here, just came from eBay. Like we said, we quit smoking a while
That's
ago.
correct. We both quit.
So I was spending all
After
money
years of smoking.
Right, I was spending all my cigarette money
Yep.
and so that there was no way I could afford to buy cigarettes. I was spending it on records. So I went on eBay and I started buying stuff left and right. Got an original Safe as Milk for 19 bucks. Mint. This Buddha label I've never even seen before.
Really? How much?
19 bucks. Original inner sleeve, everything but the Baby Jesus bumper sticker.
Wow.
But that's fine. All right.
So what did you get?
Here is my latest. We were talking about Buck Owens and the Buckaroos.
Right.
On the last podcast.
Yeah.
I bought this. I didn't realize it's not Buck Owens and the Buckaroos. It's Buck Owens Buckaroos. It's just the Buckaroos did an album, but it's about the time where I'm really into them, so I'll check it out. It's called America's Most Wanted Band. Still sealed.
What?
I think that was like $8.
So this is original Still Sealed.
Yeah.
We were talking before about you could get a reseal.
I mean, you never
This
know.
is real.
I mean, it could be like a
man.
different Capitol label. You never, I guess, know to open, but that looks
I
like
guess
original.
you won't know until you open it. Are you going to open now? Okay, so you got this on eBay. Are you going to play it?
Well, here's the thing.
Or are you just buying this for collector?
No, when I have sealed albums now,
Yeah.
I do not open them to play until I really want to hear it, just in case I find another mint copy, and maybe this turns out to be. I don't even really know about this record because it's not listed in the book I have because it's not a Buck Owens record; it's a Buckaroos record.
Huh.
But I think it's from 1968, America's Most Wanted Band. I mean, they're singing on it and stuff too. I mean, these guys sang on some of the Buck Owens records too. So I mean, it should be great.
What's that?
And this one
I know that
is
record.
you actually have this.
Oh, yeah, I have
have
that.
not have it. It's by B.B. Blunder, who were formerly Blossom Toes. I'm sure everyone knows about
course,
this. Now,
Blossom
this
Toes.
is obscure.
Who doesn't-
People
I mean, this is
accuse
so
us of being
Bob,
obscure.
this is
I admit,
so
this is
obscure, dude.
But what am I supposed to lie about? Which record? This is the first Boston record I just bought.
Oh, wow.
You
Really?
guys
Is
are
that
familiar
Brad
with them,
Delp?
right? Yeah. No, it's a record called Workers
Why
Playtime.
does Boston keep coming up on our show?
I don't know.
Why is this
because
happening?
there's no artist played more on FM radio in Chicago.
Still?
Do you think in Boston they play
Still?
Chicago all the time? Because they play Boston
So I'm
non-fucking
moving.
stop here.
I'm moving. I wouldn't mind hearing Chicago all the time.
Yeah, well, it'd be a change of pace. Well, they do play a lot of Chicago here, too. Unfortunately, the same four songs.
Okay, so there was a band called Blossom Toes. There's psychedelic kind of pop.
Yeah,
art.
We Are Ever So Clean. That record went for over $1,000 the other day.
Psychedelic band from England. And
They are great.
They
The first
morph-
one's very Beatles-like, and then they get real heavy.
heavy, of course.
And the records have
What's-
been reissued for they're about $30 or a double set reissue. If you Google Blossom Toes, you will be able to find a copy
So
if you
many
want to
bands.
get in on
There's
this.
so many bands that were like a psychedelic band, and then their next record is their heavy album.
Yeah.
It's like everyone did their psychedelic.
They either
record.
went to the country and got their head together,
Right.
and got a little more rural,
Like the band.
rural.
The band. Like
Fogarty
they went-
Delp, rural,
Right.
rural Fogarty Delp,
Uh-oh.
rural Fogarty
Oh,
Delp,
Bob, I
rural
think we've
Fogarty
lost them.
Delp. Those
Hold
words,
on.
3 words that have no meaning. I'm just going to start this chain. Every show, we're going to discover a word that is hard to say or has no meaning. We say it more.
Right. Okay.
And right now we have
Oh, man.
rural Fogarty
Right.
and Delp.
Right. Rural Fogarty Delp.
Say it again.
Rural Fogarty Delp.
What are you talking about, rural Fogarty Delp?
Oh, man.
I was out by his rural Fogarty Delp, so
What
I
is-
dumped my couch there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I had
That's
to.
where-
I had to get rid of it.
It's a
I
land
put it
of
at the,
lost couches.
Yeah, I put it at the rural
Down
Fogarty
at the
Delp.
Delp. Yeah.
What?
Sure.
The hell
Well,
are you
so
talking
so
about?
what were we saying?
But Workers
Blossom
Playtime,
Toes.
we understand that
Right.
this is rare.
Okay, what else? There was something
Well-
else. I thought I saw one more.
Yeah, it's going to be another obscurity. My dad, he was actually in Europe recently, and now when he goes on vacation, like, he'd get me a T-shirt or something.
Right. Yeah.
And now I'm just like, why
Dad
don't
went-
you just get me
Dad
a record?
went to Europe.
Yeah.
All I got was a
This is
stupid
lost.
T-shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I ask for records, which is very difficult, He's
Oh,
pushing
yeah.
70 or so. It's very difficult. He wasn't, like, into music,
Yeah.
He wasn't like his brother.
It's
is
so
the one I
hard-
got the records
it's
from,
so
my
hard
uncle.
to
He
buy.
was into music. My dad was not.
Right. It's so hard to buy for me and Bob, especially records.
Right. And the only music my dad had, is stuff my uncle gave him. Like
Yeah.
records my uncle would give him.
Who we found out actually had pretty good taste.
Oh, yeah, he had great
So-
taste. That's where my dad had the Who 8-track around the house. So
Sweet.
the off the FM broadcast recording of Quadrophenia at
Nice.
the house. We had those
Cool.
growing up. But this is a record,
I know that record. That's Gong,
Angel's
Rich.
Egg
Angel's
by
Egg.
Gong. And this is an
Original?
original British gatefold.
Yeah.
Mine's not gatefold, the
No,
one I
let me
use.
see.
The one
I have
own now.
mine's gatefold. Oh yeah, I've got that. Yeah.
Do you? See, yeah, this is new to me. And it's part of a trilogy Gong
Oh,
put
you know
out,
what?
the Flying
I don't
Teapot.
have this.
I know, it's pretty sweet.
I am
He got it in
super jealous.
Holland, which I'm super jealous. He went to Holland.
Super
What
jealous.
was my dad in Holland for? And I'm here, Here in the land of the man, if you try to do any of those fun things in the Netherlands. When's the Netherlands going to come free us?
I know. Come on.
We want the
man.
freedoms that they enjoy in other countries.
I agree.
Hey, we did it for Iraq. Can't someone do it for us? Come
That's
and
right.
liberate us,
Come on,
please.
we need liberation.
Holland,
And
send your
liberation
army
starts
over
at
here.
home, man. Right? Isn't it supposed to? Isn't that how things are supposed to be, man?
That's what my quilt says.
Your quilt.
So
you
anyways,
and your Bob, you and your quilt.
This is a good.
Right.
Great.
Angel's Egg by God.
And my dad actually enjoys getting these records for me because he's in this like hip record store in Amsterdam somewhere.
Sure.
Here is the card from him, and he comes in, and instead of asking for something stupid, he's like, "Yeah, do you got any Gong?" Because I had him look for like about 4 Gong albums, some Kevin Ayers, and then some bands from the Netherlands. I was like Q65,
Sure,
or the Outsiders, not the American Outsiders.
Right.
And when he was asking about it, he said when he asked about Q65, 3 people went running in the record store to Q65 to start looking before my dad could go there, 'cause he asked the
They're
guy.
like, oh yeah, because it springs
Right.
someone's memory.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah.
He's like some German guy just ran
So
over there. He's like,
the name
"Hi."
of the store is Record Friend Grammophonplaten.
Right.
Did you see the name?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
I know.
Grammophonplaten.
I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
Well, I do. A gramophone plate.
That's what we're going to start calling it.
record.
Bob and Ron's Grammophonplaten Club. It wouldn't fit on Twitter.
Got a
but
nice ring to it. I kind of like that.
I like it. I love those German
Really.
words and stuff that are like,
Grammophonplaten.
have like 6 words meshed together in their language or something. It's great.
It's great.
But yeah, so he actually kind of likes it because he can kind of look hip. And like when he went to France, I had him looking for original Gong albums and Soft Machine albums. And like the people he was visiting there were like, "Are you kidding?" You know, because there's always one record collector in any group, and the record collector will just be like, "Are you kidding?" He was like, "Those are great records." And then some of them continue to look for him after he leaves because they're excited about those records. It's not asking for some garbage.
Totally. So what else you brought? It seems like you brought a bunch of stuff over there.
No, that's it. Well, I
is that
brought
it?
some
Did we
records.
get to
If you want to trade records later.
Oh well, see
that's
now,
something
okay.
I want to start. I want to meet with people on the Twitter page or people
a great
on the
idea.
podcast.
It's a great
and when
idea.
you got doubles or records, it turns out I don't like the Clash or whatever. I want to trade my Clash records
Right.
away. You got good records or something. Let's all trade
This is
instead of getting a
something-
buck for them.
Yeah. Let's trade.
Right.
Okay, let's do trade. Me and Bob have been talking about this for quite a while to have a Bob and Ron's Record Club record swap. So maybe someone out there wants to organize that, has a
Yeah, 'cause
club
we
or
don't.
a
we
bar.
just want to go
or-
there and
or
have you
something.
guys with your records to trade.
Exactly, or a place we could do this at, somewhere in public.
Baseball, just baseball cards
Sure.
style like you used to do with your kid or football cards.
So you could email us at bobandron@doll.com. You could go to our Facebook. You could go to our forum. There's so many ways to get a hold of us these days. Twitter, of course.
Post on Facebook, will you, where our Twitter is? That might be
I will.
the easiest
I will
way.
do that. No
That's
problem.
why I put
So
on
I
Facebook
run.
shout, too.
I
our
run
Facebook
the Facebook
is on our Twitter bio.
True.
There's a link for it right
and
there.
vice versa. Our Twitter is on our Facebook bio.
Oh, nice. There you go.
I run the Facebook. Bob runs the Twitter, and together we both run the show.
Right, and then I got Kick It Up a Notch. If it's like just a question about something that I specifically said, it's like, Bob, you said you own this record. Tell me more about it specifically. Fine. And Ron, do you want to give out your Twitter? or
No,
do
I
you not
have
do
a
it?
private Twitter.
Right,
People could find me if they really do some research.
Right,
but I'll leave that a mystery.
But you're more of a Facebook.
I basically do Facebook.
It's good. We got to have the basis covered.
And we also have the forum.
And
at
we got to get an
doll.com.
intern to run our MySpace page.
Oh, yeah, I heard
We
MySpace
can't, we
is
can't
coming
let
back.
that just die. Whoever's out there on MySpace, we got to reach them. And what other? Is Friendster still around? Do we need places for that?
So another loose end we were going to tie up. We were talking about the weight of records, how there's like 180 gram records that are being
All
issued,
right.
and what is the
Good
normal?
brain, Ron.
I know. I just remembered. What did we figure out was the average weight of a normal American pressing?
I don't think we actually figured.
Did we figure that out? but I think
we did weigh some of our records.
Okay,
though.
so what do we
this
got?
Machine that weighs grams.
So
that's
now
a record weighing machine, people.
Right, exactly. And so I think the Kinks Kinks record that we weighed was 114 grams.
Yeah, that was an American. It's not even original pressing.
Right.
It's like
just an American pressing.
I remember when you bought this.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
And we were looking at it, trying to figure out if it was original. I don't understand why you missed a price code, the UPC code on the back. That's a giveaway.
That's a giveaway.
A record in 1970 doesn't have a UPC code.
That's true. That's true. They didn't put those on until the 80s.
Well, we're talking about Kinks, Power Man and Lola versus
The Money Go Round.
or Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round.
Wow.
Nice way to write the title, guys.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to read that?
I can't even read it, really. Power Man, Lola versus, and it's all jumbled.
It's not in the right order.
No, it's not. It's Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round is the name of the record.
Yoda did their album art, I think.
Oh, man, this is
Power Grand versus
this is a
Money
great
Go
album.
Round, they are.
Man.
Yeah, it's a great album, and the one you want is all blue cover. This one has black writing on the cover, like the drawing. You want actually all blue, like the Kinks is written in a light blue. You want the cover to be all in light blue if you're looking for an original.
Interesting.
Reprise.
Interesting. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a great record, and now we weighed some of those records I got from my uncle from Germany.
Okay, cool.
The band Cahoots, German pressing,
sure.
134. So that's another 20
Okay.
grams.
All right.
The ELP
Yeah.
Tarkus, which I knew was heavy, 170 grams,
Okay,
170.2. That's almost like the 180 is what
almost,
everyone
yeah,
goes nuts
180.
about
Yeah, totally.
nowadays. They try to. It's kind of a sucker thing. I mean, it does. It actually helps. I mean,
does.
it might as well.
Well,
but it's not the be all and end all because it's where they source the master tapes and stuff. I mean, if it's some digital copy they transfer to a 180 gram vinyl, it's still just a digital. You're getting a disc.
I hear what you're saying, but also the thickness of the vinyl means the grooves could be cut deeper,
Right.
in theory, and making a better sonic quality
Of the digital copy.
The digital copy.
Right.
But still. So usually 180 gram pressings do sound more full, definitely full
Yeah.
range.
But the thing is, like Rhino now, if you look closely on the stickers of the
Sure.
ones they've just been putting out in the last few months,
They're
they say cut from original analog masters. If you see it
Right.
say that, that's what you want to buy. They put out the Love,
Yep.
Sabbath, Dead,
Cool.
Iggy and the Stooges, their
Right.
albums, and they're all between $16 and $24. Television, Marquee Moon
Yep.
is out on Rhino.
Yep.
I'm telling you, people, I
They're
think
great.
people are
They sound-
hoarding these up because they sound amazing.
Amazing
I mean,
pressings.
I've bought the Love. I haven't bought any of the Sabbath because I haven't needed it. But like some records, like I didn't have a perfect near mint original Forever Changes by Love, which is considered their masterpiece. But that's
Yeah.
another band that post that they put out some great stuff. It was a little heavier, it was a little funkier, but I love that Arthur Lee stuff. Post Forever Changes,
yeah.
but Forever Changes,
Absolutely.
I couldn't find an original. I finally found one on Sundays, but it wasn't cut from original masters. So then, like a month later, this comes out on Rhino after I finally found it on Sundays, and I went and bought it again
Right.
on Rhino. But this was a still
Man,
sealed, brand
there's
new
a lot-
copy, cut from original analog master. Opened that up and played it, and it was amazing.
There's a bunch
Totally
of
worth
records
it.
out there that I've bought multiple copies,
Oh, yeah.
different pressings, different companies. I'll buy a reissue. I'll buy, it's and
It's
that,
like- it's like
again, that
finding,
is
like-
also part of the sickness.
Right,
It's
you're
like
like
we already
finding,
have
like,
a perfect
all right.
mint original copy. Why are we still buying it?
Right. Well, because each pressing does sound different. You
That's
might
true,
get something
man.
out of it.
No, that's true. That's
But
true.
the thing is that sometimes you got to give it. You're like, all right, I'm never going to find this original. I'm just going to buy this reissue. And then, of course, a week later, do the Litter. This is a band from Minneapolis, garage band, classic on a lot of underground records. Found their third record, it was a reissue. I'm like, I'll buy it for $30. It's expensive, but I'll finally have all their records. Week later, I see an original for $2 less. I was like, and it wasn't perfect, but it was plenty good enough to own. And that's what always happens. As soon as you buy the reissue, you find the original.
Let's get back to more Bob and Ron.
I love Bob and Ron. Who knew record geeks could be so sexy? All right, there, I said it. Now untie me.
Now, here's your hosts, Bob and Ron.
We've been talking about going through some classic records and kind of going through each song. And these are records that me and Bob consider perfect albums.
Must own
Must
LPs.
own
I'll hashtag
LPs.
it sometimes that way. Must
Okay.
own LP on our
Right.
Twitter feed.
So we're going to put up on our forum at doll.com a section of must own LPs, and we'll just every week we'll
if we
we'll
remember
try
the
and hit
ones we
one.
said, we'll try to post them up later.
And we'll try and discuss one a week. I think it's something that we could do forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't know how many times we're listening or going through records and being like, oh, that's a must-have. You got to have that. Like we've talked about 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus. We talk about that all the
Right.
time.
So this week we'll talk
Right.
more about Kinks, and I'm going to read it
Right.
from the spine, so
Okay.
it's much easier.
Right.
Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round, Part 1.
Part 1.
Part 2 never
Came out.
though.
Right, right.
This is such a great album. Now, everyone knows,
Everyone knows
the
the
song
big hit.
Lola. If you don't know it, you know, but that is, I want to say it's one of the worst songs on here. And that's not to say Lola's bad, but you've heard it so many times. Maybe that's, some songs got a little played out. That was one that every station would play, no matter what their format. Lola seemed to be on it. But, and I don't know, do you still hear it today? Not as much.
Lola, not as much. I remember when I was in,
Some songs do
I
drop
don't know,
out. They never add anything
goes in
new.
Right.
Except crap. All of a sudden, Bon Jovi will start being played on
It goes
classic
in
rock.
It goes
And
in
it's
waves.
what?
Like what are the classic rock current songs? I remember there's many parts in my life
a
where
ripple.
Lola was one of those.
Yeah,
songs,
it's not really a wave because they really do not. There's no new classic rock ever added in. I mean, it is like it's newer stuff. They'll start adding in, like I said, the Bon Jovi or Def Leppard. That's crap. That shouldn't be in there. But Lola, yeah, that's kind of been lost now. I tweeted this out the other day. See if you agree. Remember growing up how much Cats in the Cradle was on the damn radio?
Oh man,
all the time. I haven't heard it on the radio in years.
Right. Well,
it's like suddenly somebody said enough of that, and thank God they did. But there's a lot of records they should say that to. But anyways, Lola was the big hit single from this record. But this record has way, way more to offer than that.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, a lot of people might know the song "Strangers." It was in Darjeeling.
Oh, sure, a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
It was that movie.
No, Darjeeling Limited, the Wes Anderson movie. They played it.
Big hit.
Yeah.
I think that was right behind E.T. and All-Time Moneymakers.
See, a lot of these songs were not hits, but man, you listen to this album.
8 Man's on the record.
Okay.
And that was a hit. But we used to play "Gotta Be Free" a lot on the Snoop Dogg show.
Sure. This Time Tomorrow.
We used to play that one.
Another classic.
But it's all about like the music industry and songwriting. Like the song "Denmark Street." That was like their Tin Pan Alley.
Sure.
Where all the songwriters were. The American version of the Brill Building. Right. Get Back in Line. There's a lot about their fights with the union and being banned from America. That's why they never really caught up. In America, they kind of lost touch with the American audience in the late 60s, so they never toured because they had this union beef that was just crap. And then to hurt their careers, an American audience missed out on some of the greatest albums of all time. Arthur, Village Green Preservation Society. I mean, great records people missed out on.
And this is kind of, along with many Kinks albums during this period and right after, that were kind of like, it was a kind of a concept album.
Oh, they all were.
Exactly.
For years.
Exactly. And this is kind of their record that takes a stab at the pops, the pop music industry, rock music.
These Kinks albums would make way better Broadway shows than like those ABBA or Billy Joel, where they just grab songs and do whatever the hell they do with it. These actually are good stories. It would be awesome to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Village Green expanded into 2 more albums after the original, and one of them was a double. So, I mean, you got like four records there of music. I mean, you can totally. Who do we buy the rights from? Let's just buy the rights ourselves. I mean, it's just right. I mean, it's a perfect story, great music, best music that will ever be on Broadway. With those King songs, and they would work there.
Yeah, I agree. But on the second side, it had Long Way From Home, Rats, 8 Man. Great song, Power Man.
That's a great
Got
song.
to
We used to play that a lot.
The whole record's great. It's definitely one of Bob and Ron's must own.
And
albums.
for some reason, you don't have a record player, and you're just in the digital world. Fine, go download it. Go to your iTunes.
Yeah, no, go to iTunes and
get it. I'm thinking
it's a
there,
great.
right?
It's a great collection of songs.
Oh yes, yeah. Don't just get the greatest hits and think that's all they have. I'm telling you, the Kinks are a treasure trove of great music. Not only just song totals, but the total amount of albums. It's amazing how much good stuff they got.
I agree that they're one of those bands where it's just record after record after record. It's like, wow, this is a perfect album. Wow, this is a pretty perfect album. It just keeps going and going. If you want to get in touch with us, you can always email us at bobandron@dull.com. Check out our Facebook. Hit us up there. Go to dull.com and
share your sexy record stories, sexy stories about vinyl,
concert stories, record stories.
Yeah, I think if you type in vinyl forum on Google, you're going to get something different.
Something much different, Bob.
See, I'm telling you, I think there's a lot going on there, Ron. You better check back in that forum. There's some sexy stories being shared. Some unbelievable ones. Well, enough about all the places you can talk to us and about us. Let's have someone else talk about us.
Finally.
Mel Brooks. This is real. This is good because he's such a genius, and we're going to play this
really
a lot, 'cause
happened.
This is the
This
best
really
piece
happened.
of tape we
Oh,
have,
man.
right? And we loved it. We just asked him, we're trying to get a radio show. Can you say something about us? This is after we talked to him for a little bit, and I do remember telling him this was something that came up on our Twitter feed, Bob and Ron's LP Club. This came up. Someone was watching Spaceballs, and we checked in, and we said that is such an underrated movie. And
Absolutely.
when we met Mel, I looked Mel straight in the eye, and I was like so serious with him. I was like, you listen to me.
That's right.
I'm like, Rick Moranis deserved an Oscar nomination for that movie. You
Absolutely.
directed him. That performance was brilliant. And he was like, look at my, I'm serious, man.
I think you scared him, Bob.
Right, but he saw our passion then. And then
Absolutely.
we just let him go. This is unedited. He just gave us about 30 seconds or so of just Mel off the top of his head. I mean, what a nice guy. Because think about us two coming up to him and asking for some sort of promo tape. He doesn't know how this tape's going to be used or where it's going to pop up. But please spread it around on YouTube. Capture this, do something, get this around, because if somebody thinks that we're friends with Mel Brooks, we're going to get a lot more people listening to the podcast.
Hello, this is Mel Brooks, I swear to God. And I met Bob and Ron on the street. I'm talking on the street near a subway here. And these guys really look haggard, and they look like they're hungry. So and they look also smart. Somewhere there's a gleam in their eyes. So listen to Bob and Ron if you get a chance. And even if you don't get a chance, tell Jews everywhere, Bob and Ron are on the air, and they're hip, and they're bright, and they're hungry. So keep in touch. Bye.